So this is a follow-up to our last video on how to set up a new network in DeltaWatch. Today we're going to look at how to process the exported data from DeltaWatch and insert it into Eagle.io. So the first thing that we need to do in Eagle.io is create a location, data source, and some template parameters. The easiest way to do this is just copy these from a previous setup. And basically what we have here is just a data source that's connected to no external import and three parameters for easting, northing, and vertical that have all the settings that we want all our other easting, northing, and vertical parameters to have. So they have the transformation type, the units that we want, they have all the states that we want, so they have our high and low limits already configured, they have our chart display type. These are all going to get copied over to the new parameters that we create through this process using the Eagles API. So the first thing that we want to do to get these data imported into Eagle is we're going to open up the properties of the text file source, and we need to copy the ID code for this source. And before we copy that over, we're just going to switch over to our DeltaWatch computer. We're going to go to our DW Eagle application. We're going to click the Edit Config button. And if it's configured right, that should pop up Notepad++ with our setup here. What we want to do is we're going to copy the last entry into this from this folder. So in this case, it's Bruce North. And we're going to paste that below. We're going to copy everything except for the very last bracket. The very last bracket is for everything here. So if we minimize, we can collapse these sections that are bracketed here. And you can see that the last bracket is for the entire thing. And we need to make one small change to the structure here. This is a JSON document, so we need to have commas after each item. So you can see that the first couple entries here have a comma after the bracket that encloses the total station itself. So this block here has a comma after it. So we just need to add a comma right here to the second to last block. The very last block doesn't need any commas. And the indentation is all visual. It doesn't actually matter for the format, for the structure of the file. So we're going to change the name to Bruce South. Then we're going to switch back to Eagle. I'm going to copy that ID code from the text file source. We'll switch back to our DeltaWatch computer, and then we're going to paste that ID code into source parent ID. The API key can be contained from the account settings of the project, and if you've already been running this, if you're using the same account or workspace, the API key would stay the same. And in our case, that's the case, so we're not going to change anything there. Now we're going to go back to Eagle, and we're going to go to the next section of the config file. So next we're going to configure the easting, northing, and vertical in our config file. So we're going to go into the properties of each of those and do the same thing we did for the text file source. We're going to copy the ID. We're going to switch back to our DeltaWatch computer, and we're going to paste that ID into here. I'm going to go back to Eagle. We're going to go to northing, copy the ID, paste that ID into north, go back to Eagle, and go to vertical, copy the ID, back to DeltaWatch, paste that ID code into there. And now the last thing to change is going to be this file path here. So this is where the data is going to be exported from DeltaWatch. And this is just going to be Bruce South. And we could also just copy this from the file path here. But one thing to keep in mind when you copy this, it's going to copy it with 1/. But because we're on Windows here, we need to // the directories. So // and then we need a // at the end. Now, just to explain what the rest of this is that we haven't touched, we're going to leave these delta head and delta eagle settings all the same, but these are basically the header in the file that we have exported from Delta Watch. So if we take a look at the file that we've exported from Delta Watch for Bruce South, we can see the same header that we have in our config file. So we have delta easting inch, and it's all in brackets, in square brackets, and then delta northing inch, and it's all in square brackets. So this is how we're going to match which column in the file to import into Eagle, and then we tell the program what to put after the file, the parameter name in Eagle. So in this case, we want to have all the parameters in Eagle be the name of the prism dash easting dash northing and dash elevation. Once we're satisfied with the changes that we've made here, we're going to go up to plugins and we're going to go to JSON viewer and show JSON just to make sure over here in the left hand side it loads all of our configurations and we can expand into the different settings. And this tells us that we've formatted the JSON file correctly. So if this works, then we know we should be good to save this and let Delta Watch keep processing. And Delta Watch will load this on the fly. So as soon as we save this, in 1 minute, when this runs again, it will start loading files from Delta Watch South. And there it goes. Now we can see the DW Eagle processor loaded a whole bunch of files and is inserting data into Eagle and creating the parameters. And if we switch back to Eagle, we can see a bunch of new parameters and readings being inserted as we watch. And that's all there is to it.